Hey crafty cuties, so let's skip a really long intro and you know what you're here for. We're going to make some DIY traveler notebooks today. And I am going to show you a couple different ways and different techniques that you can use to make your own traveler's notebook. And once you see this once, you will definitely be able to take this idea and turn it into any size that you want and different fabrics and things like that. So we are going to start with some canvas, and this has adhesive on the back so that we can easily adhere this to some really cute notebook paper. If you want to see an in-depth video on some really cute and inexpensive traveler's notebook inserts, you can head over to Feliz Loves Paper, and I'm going to have her link up where the little eye is, and that way you can go check that out after you make your traveler's notebook. So this is the very first one that I made, and I just made this to fit inside my planner, and I just wanted to show you how cute it is to use just scrapbooking paper and contact paper. That's what I did with this one right here. I think it's just so cute and so easy to customize and just use any type of designs that you want. And this was so inexpensive because I had everything that I needed besides the elastic, which was also really inexpensive. And I just love how it turned out. So let's go ahead and start with a very basic traveler's notebook. This traveler's notebook is going to measure 8.5 inches by 4.5 inches when we are complete. You're just going to need some canvas that has adhesive on the back. If you can't find it with the adhesive on the back, you can use some very heavy-duty glue instead. You're going to need some type of scrapbooking or designer paper if you want for the inside cover. You're going to need something to punch your holes. I'm using my Crop-A-Dile with some little eyelets here that are 1/18 of an inch, I believe size. And you'll need some elastic cording. You can use like a nail or a thumbtack. You really don't have to have one of these. That's just what I have. Both of these measure 8.5 inches by 9 inches right now. So go ahead and peel the backing off. If you're concerned about it getting on here straight, you can do just a smaller portion, but I'm just gonna wing it here like usual. And then just match up your scrapbooking paper on top. It is very sticky, so just be careful. Sorry if I go out of focus here. I'm gonna pay attention to what I'm doing for a minute. I did make my scrapbook paper just a tad bit bigger, and I'll just trim it. So I am going to go ahead and round all of my corners. This is optional, and if you are a perfectionist, by all means go ahead and go all around the edges, and you can measure and make sure that everything is precise. So go ahead and fold this in half, and you can just lightly crease it so that you can find the center. You don't have to crease it all the way down, just so we can have a guideline. Go ahead and open it up. Now you are going to mark a little hole, or mark a little spot halfway in the middle. So since this is 8.5, since ours is 8.5, we're going to mark at 4.25, and then I'm going to mark at 1/2 inch from the top and at 1 inch down. And then you're going to do the same from the bottom. And just make sure you're on that crease right in the middle. You're going to mark 1/2 inch and 1 inch. These are where all of our holes are going to be. And I'm just kind of checking to make sure that my actual holes are on the crease. So I'm going to use my Crop-A-Dile to punch these holes. So I'm gonna try to line this up off camera, but basically you're just punching the holes where we marked the spots. And I will show you an alternative way to do on the hole in the middle. If you don't have a Crop-A-Dile, you can use something like this right here. I just found it in my husband's toolbox. And you're just gonna poke a little hole. Now since this isn't going to make an actual hole, you know, the paper's still going to be there, I would flip it over and then just do the same so it does kind of push the paper or canvas out of the way, and this works completely fine. So now go ahead, if you are using your Crop-A-Dile, go ahead and add your eyelets. I just like the look of this, but this really isn't necessary. It's kind of more for looks. And I won't be adding one of these to the center. Okay, so I'm going to be using 48 inches of the elastic cording. I'm just kind of estimating here. And you're going to start by folding it in half. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm actually going to add a little button to my elastic that's going around the front. And if you are doing this, then you can start by putting both of the ends through the outside rather than putting the loop through the inside. Hopefully that makes sense. You'll be able to see. That's just so that I can have the button on here. Otherwise there would be no way to get it on. I hope I made sense there. So I'm just gonna use my little tool here to push the two ends through the middle hole. Okay, so don't pull this through all the way. You want to leave enough on the outside to fit around the notebook. So now we are going to take the ends of the string, we're going to loop it out the bottom one, in the top. Same thing down here. Loop it out, loop it in. Now the next step I find easiest if you do use one of your inserts. Now I don't have an insert ready, but I do have some paper folded for the size that my inserts will be. So you can kind of estimate this, but it does help if you have your inserts. And what you would do is just open it down the middle and you're going to tie a knot right around it. And we'll slip this back out. So really this is just a guide. And you can see I have a lot of extra elastic here. So tie it and then you can trim the excess. And guys, that is basically it. Let me show you how to add another elastic for a second insert. So what you're going to do is take another elastic and you're going to tie it around this first insert, and now you have space for two more inserts. One on this side right here and one on this side. Look how cute this is, guys. And this one can be reversible, and if you really wanted, you could use some contact paper or laminating to laminate this right here if you did want to make it reversible. I'm just gonna keep mine like this. And I feel like this little button really adds a lot, and even a plain button would look wonderful. So there you have it. This is the very basic traveler's notebook. You can add stitching around the edges. You can add a pen loop if you wanted. You can easily add pockets inside. For this felt Midori, I am going to sew around the edges, and then I'm going to basically follow the same exact steps that we did for the first one. Today I am going to do my very first plan with me. So this is last week right here, and if you haven't seen my very first planner setup video, I'll have it linked above for you guys. So we are going to be working on